Because now they've gone beyond just having a program. Now they have nuclear weapons. I mean, if they can put one of those, first generation warheads on this ICBM that they just tested, then they now have nuclear weapons. So the problem is you can't go back from that. I mean, this is a significant.
Here is the launch. It's a 2-stage rocket. They say could go 4,000 kilometers. That'll make it to the United States, make it at least to Alaska. But, I mean, why go to Alaska when you just go to Japan?
Yeah, they doesn't have to attack the mainland U.S., the continental, or the Alaska. No. They just hit Japan. That sets. We're not going to let them hit Japan.
You put it up in space just below where the satellites are, and you put it somewhere close to North America, and you knock out all of our electronics. I mean, this is really scary time. Really scary.
And this missile's significant. This is not coming out of a silo. If it's coming out of a silo, we can tell when they're about to fire these off. So we'll actually detect it, and we can preemptively knock those out. This was brought in via basically like a flatbed type truck, and they can take this anywhere. Look at all those mountains. They literally could have tons of these out in those mountains, and they could drive them out into a clearing and launch it with no warning whatsoever.
And this is what we're afraid of. We don't know how many missiles they have like this, because they can all be hidden. And so we don't have the targets. We don't know, acquire target. Where are the targets? This is worst case scenario. So I went over this today on radio. These are the 3 things that would stop war. I'm going to add a 4th one, but I'd like to hear your take on this. North Korea gives up their nukes. He just said again today, there's not a chance. I mean, once you have nukes and a missile to launch, you're not going to give it up.
And I'd like to add to that, Kim Jong Un is regime. Like, he holds his regime together basically by being the tough guy, not capitulating. If he were to suddenly give in, he would be seen by his people as capitulating to the United States.
Well, even if he said that he was giving in, would we even really trust that he would? I mean, that would just be him saying that he was and not doing it.
We've been down that road before.
Right.
I mean, this is where his family has been working towards. You're not going to give that up. U.S. and South Korea end military drills and cooperation. So in other words, we say we're no longer going to protect South Korea, and we're going to give up that peninsula.
Number one, we won't do it, and number 2, it still won't stop North Korea, because they're going to keep moving. They're aggressors. They'll eventually take over South Korea, and it won't stop there. So they're like locusts with that.
That was dangled by China and Russia just yesterday. I think just right after the launch. And I think it's interesting. I see this as a total political trap, a diplomatic trap.
It is. Russia and China now. China is the key. And at 4 o'clock this morning, did anybody check Donald Trump's tweets? At 4 o'clock this morning, he tweeted, trade between China and North Korea has gone up since January by 40%. Enough of them trying to help us. They're clearly not. So they're increasing their trade and their coziness with North Korea while stringing us along, saying that they're helping. They're not helping.
Oh yeah, China and North Korea have always been.
Right.
And they always will be.
The reason why we're at an armistice now, we didn't end that war. We have a ceasefire in the Korea War, and it's because China came marching in, and we said we're going to have to go all the way into China to do it, and Truman said no.
Well, yeah, but we've got this situation now, and this kind of goes to your third point of what would stop war, the full Chinese economic sanctions and an oil embargo. But that type of activity has not worked in the past. I mean, this is a guy...
Nobody's done that.
Well, not full, but I mean, to say that that's going to be one of the things that stops war, I mean, this is a guy who doesn't care if his country doesn't have a lot of these things that they're doing the trade with. So to me, just writing China off and saying, well, the fact that they're increasing trade with them means that we can't work with them anymore, that's being short-sighted.
A full oil embargo probably would make Kim Jong Un have cause to stop, because he can't even foot an army. If they don't have the oil to do it and they get the majority of their oil from China, they won't be able to.
But couldn't that also be the back in the corner thing too, where you become even more aggressive? You start lobbing weapons. I mean,
that's my concern.
Right.
That's what our oil embargo on Japan is. What made Japan strike Pearl Harbor.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Long run. That's exactly right.